Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Welcome back. Good to see you. Good morning, Vimbai. Good
Abuja.
morning, Rufai. Good morning to all our viewers out there.
You took over for me in Abuja, Rotus.
Yes, we're switching places, Rufai.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, as always, we start with what to watch this week, right? You've got Purchasing Managers Index numbers for Monday for the United States, the Eurozone, India, Australia. PMI, Purchasing Managers Index, is a survey that basically asks manufacturers how are your supply chains, how are your employment levels, how are your inventory levels. So we'll get that for today. Tuesday, there's been so much going on in Abuja. We had the West Africa Economic Summit that just wrapped up Friday, Saturday. We've got the Afri-Exim Bank annual meetings that kick off tomorrow all the way through Saturday. And much of what was discussed at the West Africa Economic Summit will be discussed with the Afri-Exim Bank annual meetings. Jerome Powell is also testifying on Tuesday in front of Congress. You can expect that he'll be getting questions about Trump and the monetary policy path into the United States. Wednesday, we have U.S. new home sales. With where interest rates are high, is that impacting mortgages and demand for homes? Thursday, we have a central bank decision from the Banco de Mexico. And that, of course, is their first female central bank governor, Victoria Rodriguez-Ceja. They cut rates 3 times in a row. The last time was in May, so I think 8%. It's expected that they might cut again. Inflation is at around, not too much higher than where their target is of about 3%. Friday, we've got the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, the Federal Reserve's preferred measure of inflation. So let's kick off now. I mean, there was a headline that I sent you all that talked about how global markets seem to be shrugging off the U.S. attacks on Iran. So I think it was from CNBC, and you should have that headline in front of you. Why global markets are brushing off U.S. strikes on Iran. And essentially it's because, look, these attacks took place on Saturday. It's now Monday morning, and we're yet to see anything happen. In fact, to quote President Trump when Zelensky was in the White House, you don't have all the cards. It doesn't seem like Iran has all the cards now, because they said their parliament was going to cut off the Strait of Hormuz. It hasn't happened because, again, they'd be shooting themselves in the foot, and most of the oil shipments that go through there go to Asia, and they'd be angering China. Also, they're yet to see any attacks on U.S. bases in the Middle East. Because, of course, as President Trump said, if Iran is to retaliate, he said there will be a tragedy there. So there's that threat. And then you've had world leaders from Emmanuel Macron, Ursula von der Leyen, Narendra Modi of India. Everyone is saying, look, Iran should just take the path of diplomacy and not escalate things. So, and then, of course, Hezbollah is weakened in Libya. You've got, the Houthis, and they're condemning things, but their Iranian proxies are just not as powerful as they used to be. You've also got the Syrian government going down as well. So let's take a look at some of these risk assets now. Now, oil prices, yes, they were up in early trading. Brent crude at 78, but I checked this at 1 a.m. this morning. Brent was at 79. I mean, it was nearing $80 a barrel, but it's come down to 78 now. West Texas Intermediate is at 75. Nigeria's benchmark is always at 75. So yeah, oil prices rose, but again, traders seem to be saying, look, it doesn't look like Iran is in a position to retaliate. And then, of course, we're getting these reports that, Fordo, where much of their nuclear enrichment items are on the ground, may have been moved, according to the United Nations watchdog. So, maybe Iran is using that as an off-ramp to say, okay, you didn't really damage our facility, so, perhaps there won't be a retaliatory attack. Again, there's still time, we don't know. But for now, traders are saying, look, this doesn't look as bad as it is. If you take a look at, I think, gold actually fell, all right? So gold actually dipped down. This is a reserve, a safe haven. So usually when geopolitical tensions are ramping up, you see gold climbing because investors are piling in there. And as more demand goes for gold, prices go. But it actually fell by about 45 basis points. I mean, look, again, we're not saying anything's done and dusted here. There's still a lot of uncertainty and tightened tensions. But for this early Monday morning, the markets don't seem to be reacting as badly as we expected. Bitcoin, gold and Bitcoin usually go in opposite directions. Bitcoin fell below 100,000 over the weekend, but it's back up again. 100,000 now seems to be the new psychological level. So you've got gold going down, Bitcoin going up. Bitcoin is a risk asset, so it usually tracks equities. So again, traders in Bitcoin is sold off when the attack happened. Now it's like, okay, Iran hasn't done anything. It's been 48 hours. It's climbing back up. We go to the Asian markets. Not as bearish as you would expect. I mean, you have the Nikkei 225 down by just 13 basis points, the Kospi down by 24, the Nifty down by 65, Australia's down by 60. China is up. Hang Seng in Hong Kong is up. Is China up because the Strait of Hormuz has not been closed off and China is still going to be buying oil from Iran? Who knows? But the thing is that the markets, I mean, I know European futures, US futures are pointing downwards, but it's not as, you're not seeing a 2, 3, 4% crash in the markets. We move on from there to the other items to look through for today beyond the Asian stocks. And well, there's also the robotaxi being launched in the US on Sunday. We previewed this. Elon Musk sent out a congratulatory tweet to Tesla AI saying, super congratulations to the Tesla AI software and chips design team on a successful robotaxi launch. Culmination of a decade of hard work. Both the AI chip and software teams were built from scratch within Tesla. So they're using their own software. Now, how does the self-driving market look like right now? Someone asked Grok, and a lot of people were looking at this response from Grok. Grok, by the way, speaking of Tesla AI, Grok, of course, is the AI software from xAI. And someone asked Grok, how far behind is Tesla behind Waymo, which of course was spun out from Google. And Grok, look at Grok's answer. Tesla's robotaxi service launching today, that was as of June 22nd, is about 6 years behind Waymo, which began paid driverless rides in 2019. Waymo leads in safety and reliability with over 5 million trips by 2024. Tesla's large fleets and data could help it catch up, but recent accidents and regulatory delays raise concerns. The gap may narrow, but Waymo's established service holds a clear advantage for now. And you've got other players that are coming into this self-driving ride-hailing market, Amazon and others. So for now, Tesla does have a lot of catching up to do. And there were some folks that were sharing videos on social media of their first ever robotaxi ride. There was a driver in the front seat to make sure that things, at the front passenger seat, it was driverless, but there were folks that there was a Tesla executive there, at least a Tesla worker there to make sure that nothing went wrong. So we'll see how this develops over time. We come to Nigeria. As I said, we've already mentioned the conclusion of the West Africa Economic Summit, first inaugural one held at the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center. Lots of West African heads of states that were there. In fact, I actually saw President Mahama of Ghana walking into the Transcorp Hotel yesterday evening. But I do want you to take a listen to, a lot was said, but President Tinubu was saying that West Africa needs to be intentional. I do like this quote from him where he says, we don't need declarations, we need deals. So take a listen to this excerpt of what the president said.
Regional trade remains under 10%, a challenge you can no longer ignore. The low trade is not due to a failure of will, but a failure of coordination. The global economy will not wait for West Africa to get its act together, nor should we. Rather than competing in isolation or rely on external partners, we must together strengthen our regional value chains, invest in infrastructure, and coordinate our policies. We must do more. We must move from declarations to concrete deals, from policy frameworks to practical implementation.
All right. Now, also, hope you guys can hear. All right. So now, let's also go to the new chair of ECOWAS, and that, of course, is the president of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio. And he actually said something really key. He talked about the Single currency. And I don't know, maybe the clip won't catch it. I actually led the applause when he said that. I started clapping and others started. But take a listen to it. He says, look, if the region wants to be serious about trade, and this is going to come up during the Afri-Exim meetings, we got to get a currency. So take a listen.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to deepen and boost intra-regional competitiveness, we must accelerate progress towards monetary union. A single regional currency would reduce exchange rate costs, support price stability in our region, and improve the business environment.
Now, of course, we took the Eurozone 20 plus years to get there. There's no illusions about how difficult this would be. You've got the different, inflation metrics, debt to GDP. There's so much that has to go. And then the fact that you have to have one central bank. It's a long way to go, but it was nice to hear the new chair for ECOWAS at least point in that direction. That's our update for today.
Thank you, Rotus. Oil market, global oil trade has entered a period of uncertainty, and there will be unprecedented supply disruptions. You referred to Iran. The parliament has taken a decision to close down the Strait of Hormuz, but that will have to be ratified by the Security Council. And if that happens, the Strait of Hormuz accounts for 20% of global oil trade, and that will be real trouble. We may even have up to $100 per barrel.